We have a very interesting topic today called AI trends in B2B retail marketing. Although we noticed a lot of interest from people in other industries as well, or, connected domains who target retail as partners or customers. So I hope everybody, no matter the domain, will find something useful out of it. Um, One thing I wanted to share with you, I really like this guy, marketunist.com. This is a guy who's doing cartoons related to marketing. And I chose this one is a very recent one of his regarding our expectations now in this AI-driven world, right? We still know that our audience is made out of people mostly, or at least it still is, and we want our content to be authentic, genuine, and human. But we think it's still solvable by putting this into an AI prompt. Now, we all marketers know that you still need a human to, drive the prompts, to understand the strategy and what's behind this. And by the way, quite recently, I received an email who said this, "Hi, this is Mary. I'm an AI assistant." And then it went on with the proposal. And I was really curious, how do people react to that? I mean, to me, it obviously stands out, but I am in the business. So I'm curious to know, put in the comments, how would you react to that? Because on one hand, it's a bit off. I mean, okay, you're using AI for this, but on the other hand, I really appreciate being, authentic and sincere with it. So I'm really curious to see where this is going. And this is exactly related to today's topic. Things are changing quite a lot in our area because AI is impacting a lot of tools coming up. So it's impacting our processes, the way we are building our strategies. I know there's a lot of buzz in marketing departments and in businesses in general nowadays because they're building their strategy for next year, and it's chaos regarding to where budgets should go. But on the other hand, the most important shift or the most important change is user behavior. And we are talking about not just, B2C users, we're talking about decision makers, because even in our own, day-to-day habits, we notice that a lot of things have changed. We're now searching for information in a different way. We are gathering, information produced by AI in a combination with human. So things are changing. On our agenda for today, we are going to talk first about some trends. So we're going to put some figures around the things I've been ranting about until now. Then my colleague Lori, hi Lori.
Hi.
She's going to talk to us about AI for reviews and reputation. And why is that important? Because this actually connects to the next thing on our agenda, SEO and GEO for retail visibility reputation. Apparently now it's more important for GEO, which is generative engine optimization, and SEO. I would like to salute again my colleagues here. I have Lori.
Hi, Juana, and very nice to meet everyone. I see people are gathering. We're expecting quite a crowd, and it's a really juicy topic. So hopefully we'll dive deep into each of the topics, but also keep it entertaining and fun for everyone. I look forward to learning not just from what Juana is sharing, but also from your own experiences. So please feel free to come off mute and share what's been your experience with any of these. We value experiences more than, theoretical knowledge that we read in some article, perhaps written with ChatGPT or something. So let's get going.
And I would also like to say hi to our colleague Stefan Herringhaus. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Steph.
Hi, nice to be here.
And thank you for joining us. I know you're just coming from a Google event, and there are a lot of Google events. Yesterday it was Cloud Day, so maybe you have some fresh off the oven information from Google to share with us later when we get to the GEO part. Okay, so let's get going. So, last but not least, this is me. This is Juan. I'm a managing partner at Tenancy Services. Do you find me on LinkedIn and connect with me there? I'm always happy to share a bit of conversation. And here are some figures. You cannot see there in the corner, but it's actually 2025. So this is data from 2025. And what's interesting related to this graphic is that you can see the more traditional channels we know in B2B retail are still up there when it comes to the actual ROI nowadays. So email is still first, SEO content is second. However, the way we do this and the way we manage email campaigns is starting to embed a lot of AI, and especially in the part of personalization, it's very important and is really changing. But also look at the bottom side of the graphic, because things like chatbots and conversationals who, a few years ago, they weren't even here, are really ramping up. And we're going to talk later on about how, chatbots can bring qualified leads to a B2B retailer. And also my colleague Lori is going to show you how easy it is to set up a chatbot nowadays and how to train and how it works. Um, Obviously, a lot of studies from Gartner, McKinsey, IDC are coming at the end of the year. We're seeing a boom in the adoption of AI and AI spend. So 83%, so the vast majority of CMOs in retail are increasing their AI spend. More than half, they say that AI delivers measurable ROI in personalization mostly. So that, email part, but also we'll talk later on when it comes to personalizing the websites, the landing pages, and the product offers based on what your customers are looking for. And generative AI adoption obviously grew across retail marketing teams, and I'm pretty sure this is available to most industries on the planet nowadays. Now, what's actually hype and what really works? And you can see in this matrix, on the vertical, there is the ROI impact, and on the horizontal, it's the adoption. There were a lot of hype, around AI influencers, metaverse. So that went down. It was just a hype. But we see a lot of proven ROI nowadays. Once again, I'm mentioning personalization, ad optimization, and I'm sure Steph can also mention how AI is used in Google AdWords, for instance, and chat agents. There are some other things hyped but not adopted, like retail media optimization and voice search. And what's emerging, this predictive merchandising and agentic AI. So this one on your top left, I see this really moving towards the right, because agentic AI apparently is the future in marketing as well. And we're also going to showcase you some marketing agents so you can see what's already there and how it can be used. But where exactly is it already driving results? So, those percentages, those CMOs that say that they are using it, where are they seeing results and what's the exact impact? So first of all, in branding, and also including in the work retailers do with agencies or other providers, there is a lot of, dynamic visuals, AI-generated copy testing. You can now do a lot of testing bidding before you start a major campaign, faster campaign iterations. Agencies as well as marketers from the internal team are using AI. So that's where a lot of time is being, spent in a more efficient manner. Ads, some studies say that using predictive audiences or AI optimized bidding, you can get to 20-30% lower CPA. Product pages, so those auto-generated descriptions can also increase your organic visibility. Chatbots, there are studies that show that companies that have chatbots, well-trained chatbots on their website for lead capture, support, or lead nurturing, see 2 to 4 times higher conversions. And in social media, AI content scheduling, sentiment analysis, that also saves a lot of time, but they also saw uh, a lot of impact on engagement. Now, personalization, I've mentioned it several times, but I really want to highlight it because this is the area where the highest ROI is seen. Apparently nowadays, 35% of e-commerce revenue is AI driven. This is a study from McKinsey, and 1 in 3 B2B retailers use predictive personalization. This is something that most, marketing automation platforms, ERP, CRMs that are being used in this domain already have as a feature. So if you are in this domain and you haven't given it a try, you should. Predictive personalization is really a way to do upselling, and I'm going to show you some use cases later on. Generative AI in content and creation. This is one of the area, or let's say the first area that marketers started adopting AI in. So before we had, human-only creative process with a lot of brainstorming sessions, time-consuming versions, those back and forth feedback, obviously a limited capacity when it came to very busy periods of the year, and a very high creative production cost. Just imagine, how much budget we used to spend on agencies or on, videographers who had to come and, do videos with the products or with the teams. That was a huge cost. Nowadays, everything can be AI assisted and simulated at least. And I know a lot of companies and customers in this area that use AI in this initial creative process to test several versions. And then because they still want to be authentic, they will choose, the winner, and they will implement it with a real, videographer and real actors and so on. But I also know that there are many who started using AI only videos for their campaigns, especially in the B2C area. So we are now moving towards a more AI-assisted content creation. I wouldn't say AI, powered entirely. This means that this is a mix between AI tools and humans. So marketing specialists who need to, go through this short form variants who are AI generated and make sure that it really is the best version. So what's really hype? Apparently, AI replaces this creative strategy, or at least a lot of time out of this initial process. The second part where we see that AI brings a lot of impact is lead capture and AI chatbots. According to Forrester, more than half, so 61% of B2B buyers now engage with a chat. So we're talking about B2B, guys. In B2C, it's much higher, obviously. But for B2B, they're engaging with a chat before contacting sales. So they want to learn more about the products, the specifications, the services, and so on. AI chats using RAG or fine-tuned LLM. So RAG is now pulling information from already available data, like your ERP, your system, the manuals, the technical specifications of your products. Everything can be, put into a chatbot as a learning phase. And then studies show that these convert 2.8 times, so almost 3 times higher than traditional forms. But it has to be done right. And now I'm gonna ask Lori to actually showcase and show you a very nice and neat chatbot, something that all of us can take over and implement, especially when we don't have a high budget.
Okay, so let me share my screen. I will introduce a very simple chatbot, something that everybody can use. By the way, if you don't know, we have NNC Growth Platform, which is an amazing platform to automate all of your marketing activities, and it's AI first. So everything from summing up an interaction via the CRM to automatically emailing people that contacted you via forms or anything like that, we can achieve through this amazing platform. But for one of our customers, for example, we've implemented a really simple chatbot, but the industry is not that simple. They're an insurance broker in Ontario. And for example, it takes just a few clicks to define their chatbot, to understand what is the purpose. Some of it comes pre-prompted, but you can, let's say, adjust the prompt here. So you can tell it what tone of voice it can have, what it's the purpose. You can also use different models to generate the response. This is the default one, the latest one, but you can also train it on other models. And it can reply to online messages, even to Facebook or Instagram messages. It's integrating with WhatsApp. So its main purpose is to capture leads, and it's gathering everything in one single inbox where you can also reply automatically with AI. And you can also provide it additional instructions. For example, in here, if a user asks about office walk-in and so on, here's what you need to reply. Or if a user asks about contact details, this is the contact details that you can share. So it's quite simple to configure. It's nothing, very technical or something that you need to know in advance to implement this. And you can also provide it different knowledge sources, everything from websites, either your own or, for example, your partner websites. But you can also add, let's say, text or a file upload. So it accepts different knowledge sources, and it will only reply from those knowledge sources. Okay. So again, this is everything you need to prompt it with, and then you just copy and paste the code to your website. Okay, first of all, it accepts any languages because we allowed it to. We can ask it anything. What are the opening hours? And my English doesn't have to be perfect. Please bear with me. I am not native. So it's going to reply based on the knowledge. So it's analyzing the knowledge on the website. Then I can ask it, so it says, okay, Monday to Friday. Is it accurate? So I can check here. Yes, it is accurate. Then I can ask it, I would like home insurance. Whom do I talk to? Are you an existing customer? Because we have workflows in the platform that asks it if I am. I would say I am a customer. Okay. And then if I'm a customer, it's going to reply differently than that, but it's first going to check the CRM and see if I am a customer. Okay. So may I have your full name and the phone number and so on. So I'm already sort of interacting with the AI in the back. This also replies to the phone, and we have amazing AI voice agents that pick up on the call and take over customer interactions. It does a ton of things, as you saw, with that very, very simple prompt and configuration and some resources I gave it. So back to you, Juana. Sorry for taking a bit long, and I'm going to take it up with the guys that provide our internet connection.
Yeah, no problem. So guys, just look into your technical stack, whatever you are using already, like marketing automation platforms such as HubSpot, or if you are on a Microsoft technology, most of them already have this available. So AI assisted chatbots that can be fed up with a lot of information directly from your website or from other types of sources, data sources like your ERP, CRM, and so on. Now, I want to talk to you about what's next in B2B retail marketing, but also in marketing in general. And we're talking about intelligent agents. I'm pretty sure many of you, being in this domain, have already heard about agents or assistants, or and many of us, just meet them on a daily basis in our interactions. I don't know, on e-commerce websites or in other areas. But apparently, this is the future. So far, we've been talking about, just automating tasks and doing things a little faster, a little better by using, individual tools. Now, think about being able to expand your marketing team with intelligent agents who actually work as, full-time employees, more than full-time employees, because they're available, always on. And they usually act really as a digital teammate. They are integrated with all your systems, your CRM, your ERP, or whatever you are using to manage your marketing, social
Juana, you
media.
are not sharing the presentation, just in case you'd like to. I'm just
Uh, do you see my screen? Because it says I'm sharing.
we don't
Can
just yet.
someone? Okay, okay.
I
Let
see your
me.
screen.
Okay, you see
Yeah,
my
I
screen.
see.
I
I
heard
see it.
somebody. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see your screen now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's really context aware and cross-platform. So where you have various things you are using, like let's think about the scenario, a B2B marketing manager who is managing, LinkedIn, the LinkedIn company page, their own LinkedIn profile, or sometimes the LinkedIn profiles or several team members for personal branding. They also have HubSpot as a CRM marketing automation, and they have Canva, they have Excel, they have a lot of things. An agent can work autonomously by integrating activities over all these separated tools. So what it does, it listens and learns, so it pulls real-time data. It can plan campaigns, it can build personalized plans based on very little information, just like that chatbot that Lori showed earlier. It can actually create and optimize, so generate content variants, run A/B tests, orchestrate workflows, and do analysis and reports. Now, the difference between an agent and an assistant is that the agent is really autonomous, and it's doing this from A to Z. It's able to take decisions by itself if you want that. So we assume that in the future we're gonna have agent who will decide. I don't know, maybe Steph will contradict me, but you may have an agent that will check in your Google AdWords account and see that some things are not working and decide on changing the bidding strategy by itself just because, it knows they have to bring some ROI. Apparently, this is where we are going. Now, obviously, in some cases, not even the basic automation is already adopted. But what specialists and trends are saying is that we're going to burn some steps here. So we assume that companies, even those that were not digitalized before and they didn't have those tools implemented, will adapt very quickly and adopt AI tools just because they're going to be so easy to plug and play all around. And to put again some real case scenarios on the table, I will ask Lori. Let's see if the connection works this time. To
Yes.
show.
I hope I just changed it, so hopefully we don't have any surprises left anymore. So
Uh,
this is
Yeah.
actually something that's I'm going, like in the magic tricks, I'm showing you my hands just to see that this agent is performing autonomously. So what I asked it to do is, and I did this prior to starting the conversation, I asked it to find via LinkedIn managers in retail to refine the list because it gave me managers from AT&T or something to refine the list for medium-sized retail marketing managers, and it gave me a small list, but I can do this like with 50. Then asked it to open someone's profile and invite them to today's webinar. And then I said, okay, repeat for this person. Now I asked it to repeat for another person, which is another decision maker in retail. And it does all of this by itself. So it messages them via LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It shares the steps that it's completed. But to make it even more personal and just to see live what happens, I'm going to go to this big retailer and I'm just going to prompt the assistant, let's say, find the cheapest milk, organic milk, and add it to my shopping cart. Of course, I can give it a list and just it will automatically buy all of my shopping if I give it my credit card or if I tell the agent where it can find my credit card, it's going to pick it up, pay, and just arrange for the delivery at home. This is what's called an agentic AI. There's different purposes for agentic AI. Comet is one of the most general ones. Fellow, for example, is one used for programming, and there's many more out there. People are more familiar with ChatGPT and the operator, and they just took out ChatGPT Atlas, which is a similar agentic browser as you see right now. So at this point, I'm not doing anything. The agent is actually doing for me, and it's working. So it's working on LinkedIn to message this person, to invite them to this. It's adding things to my shopping cart. I can have a ton of tasks in parallel, and it does this autonomously. There's also more advanced agents, for example, SDR or customer representative or social media agents that do this independently. So, for example, you just program that once. I prefer to still assist my agents and not let them do this by themselves. For example, if I buy milk, I want to make sure that it's the kind I like, or the process goes through correctly, or if I give it my credit card. But in general, once you've done this a couple of times, it's going to do this for you. So if you want, we can still share the screen and continue, or I can show you the result once it's done because it's going to take a while. Also, you can pay I think $200 a month. This is the free edition, in fact, but you can pay $200 a month and have this much faster. Okay, so we
And go
prefer.
turbo.
Yes, yes, we prefer to share you real life examples that you can use, because if I pay $200, but then you can't afford it or you don't have the budget for it, then it wouldn't be useful for you in today's session. So as you see, it says that it identified something and it's going to soon add it to my shopping cart. And I did this many times, so I don't have much time for shopping, and I did this quite a while, a few times now. Okay.
Yes, that's amazing. So I'm confirming. I see people in the chat window. This is comment from Perplexity. This is, let's say, the most affordable, and you can test it immediately. It works like a browser. Lori has shown you how you can use it, in relationship to a website, when shopping, e-commerce. But you can have a lot, you can imagine, you can have a lot of use cases around marketing as well. For instance, I use it in a relationship with my LinkedIn account. For instance, when this webinar finishes, I'm gonna get the list with everybody who was present here, give it to Comet, and ask him to search for all of your LinkedIn profiles, guys, and send you an invite to connect. So if you're gonna get an invitation from me later today, you know that this is the assistant doing. Now imagine how we have been doing this before. Even if it was semi-automatic, you still needed to, somehow pull a list from a system, put it into another system, then start. Now you have this agent that's doing a lot of things for you. So, and this is just, the beginning, guys. Going back to our presentation, I started resharing my screen. I wanted to give you a few numbers. I confess I had to search a lot for this, and the reason is because there are not so many case studies around AI in marketing these days. Things have just been adopted, people are still testing things, and I really struggle to find some in the B2B retail area, but here they are. We have Verve, this is actually Verve UK, a case study from their website. They mentioned that they started doing AI personalization in emails. So remember what I mentioned at the beginning, that emails are still the highest ROI channel for retailers, and they use it in targeted emails and on-site experiences, and they had, close to 1 million pound in sales very quickly. Then we have Lockhart equipment, catering equipment. They also do AI-assisted bundle recommendations, and in just 90 days, they saw, 50K pounds increase in sales. And the third one is Global Industrial. This is interesting. They built and integrated an AI content engine in their domain, and they've mentioned to do 12 times more content distribution. And this is important, especially for what we are going to talk about in the end, GEO, SEO content, and you'll see why pushing the content on the right channels and more volume will support you. So just to wrap up my section for now, here are some key takeaways. Number one, personalization pays off in retail. Use AI to do that. Most marketing automation systems already have features available for that. Generative AI scales creativity, and it helps you save a lot of time and do A/B testing before going live with a lot of expensive and big budgets. Intelligent agents are the next step. So if you are a marketer, or not just a marketer, whatever business person, professional you are, you really need to find a way to, be aware of what's changing into this spectrum. Uh, Read about AI, learn more. The fact that you are here at this webinar says that you are interested. So please give it a try. Comet is really easy, and focus on proven ROI zones. So you don't have to go, to the latest AI things. Just go to the basics if you haven't already have them implemented. So personalization, doing email, doing content, including AI tools into your campaigns planning. Go with the basics and go to where the ROI was already proven, but make sure you still are ahead with what's going to happen next. And now I'm going to pass the baton to Lori, because she has a very interesting section for us related to reputation and review, which is critical for B2B retailers and more critical to what's coming next about geo.
Okay, so keep me on track, Juana. Don't let me take too long. I've been doing marketing for over 20 years, and lately, like in the past, I'd say 5 to 10 years, we're more and more into automation, and we were doing AI before we had AI and so on. But so I'm not going to bore you with my long resume. But I would like you to see how important AI is in retail and especially in marketing. And reputation in retail means revenue. It's critical, and you can imagine that reputation empowered with AI means like 10x the revenue that you will get otherwise, because generative AI actually it's believed by over 50% of the retail responders to be a differentiator in the market. So when you ask people, for example, in surveys, and we're going to address quite a few surveys today, why would they choose a brand over another? They usually choose personalization. They choose like personalization at scale or content that's relevant, or and these things are done with AI, and we have the data now to prove it. Social media actually is reputation in retail, and please feel free, the guys that have or girls that have more experience in retail, please I'd be open to constructive conversation around this, because data shows that these days actually from all of the channels in 2025 in retail, social media sells the most. And social media is a reputation driven channel. So retail management in the area actually leverages retail, leverages, AI for monitoring, for analyzing, for understanding what customers are saying, the sentiment at scale, and all of these social media strategies today need to take into account the importance that AI has. And let's show you how, okay? So first of all, um, of course, reputation management changes in the AI era. I'm actually going to skip this because this is, let's say, more theoretical. I prefer the more practical ones. You're free to go over this slide once you have it in your email. But how is AI changing the reputation management in retail? Of course, we all know about how accurate we can now monitor reputation, how to automate the tasks. But let me show you something very practical. Do you still see my screen?
Yes.
So Glimpse is actually an add-on that you can add over Google Trends in your browser. And Glimpse actually gives you the trends, okay? So for example, it gives you the trend for, because we talked about the insurance in Ontario over the past 12 months, what happens, and I can discover trends. So for example, let's go to, I don't know, do we have anybody in beauty or fashion, or let's go tech. Anybody?
We have people in tech, yeah.
Okay, tech. What kind of a tech do we have? Do we
Programming, maybe?
programming? Amazing. So let's discover what are the trending topics, okay, uh, in programming. By the way, these are trends. What it means is that Glimpse reads the data of what's trending and predicts what's going to be asked over the next 12 months in this case. Okay, so they use historical data to predict what's going to happen. And for example, some of these are hidden because I'm not on a paid plan, but synthetic data seems to be a big one. Prompt engineering is another big one. Low code, no code is a big one. So if I would have, let's say, a company offering programming, I would probably really consider introducing this into my customer offering. But it can be, let's say, I can go even deeper and not just search for generic programming, but I can search, I don't know, for a certain technology for programming, or I can search for, I don't know, mobility solutions or something that's more practical, and I get even more practical data. Okay. So, and this is all information from customer search and from customer shared reviews on Google. Okay, so that's how, let's say, these are practical aspects of how AI changes reputation management today, okay, in retail. Okay, and we can actually predict the customer preferences, the customer behavior, and so on. So continuing with this is actually how do we use AI to predict, let's say, social media impact. And I'm going to share with you one tool. You've heard this before. I'm a AnyWord fan. And what this does is, and it doesn't matter the type of content, so you can have blog posts, you can have social media posts, and so on. But actually, this predicts based on your customer persona. Okay, so you can have multiple customer personas. So let's say I'm going to choose a certain persona, which is a school sports board coffee enthusiast, because I have an offering for Coffee Mugs fundraiser, and it predicts how my content is going to be perceived in social media by this target audience. So, for example, in this case, it's 77. In this case, it's 80. Okay. And even more so, I can improve it, the performance of that post. So, let's say I have a post that only doesn't perform all that well. I can improve the performance. And this is all done with information that's pulled from social media that predicts how my post is going to land on this specific audience. I can program different audiences and so on. Does that make sense so far on how can we use AI data in predicting social media impact and the perception and the reputation that I have online? Okay. Another thing that's very important today, and here I'm going to share some studies, and you have it here as well. Adobe says that there's a 4,700% year-over-year increase in US retail site traffic from ChatGPT and other LLMs. 4,700%. This is huge. And you have this nice green graphic here showing how big of a progression it is, which means if you are in retail, you cannot ignore ChatGPT, even if it's B2B, even if it's technology retail, you just can't simply ignore this because this is critical. I think we have less than 2 years to optimize everything for generative AI in order for your brand to appear, in order for your shop, e-shop, whatever, to appear online. And I did some testing here, for example, with Carrefour, which is a really big retail brand here. It's a chain of stores, if you don't know, but they have other businesses. And I tested how do they appear based on different popular queries in different LLMs. And as you see, if someone asks any store nearby with drive-through grocery pickup, zero will return Carrefour. Can you imagine? Meaning that if their competition optimizes for this on ChatGPT, they lose a lot of clientele. Okay. In this research, however, they are appearing in everything. So they appear in all search results when someone asks what is the best for one-stop shop big weekly shop in France, okay? But if you ask for where can I find affordable organic and local produce, again, Carrefour will not appear. So it's critical for you out there to optimize, and there's tools to optimize it. And one is going to mention these tools so that you can go, let's say, from here with practical learnings. You're going to see more in here in terms of how the LLMs read based on the questions, the popular questions people ask, but only the fact that people ask these questions in ChatGPT, it gives you a measure of how popular this is, okay? So to date, 38% of consumers have used generative AI for online shopping. 38%. So it's more than one third. Okay. So 52% of people plan to do so this year. Okay. So again, and 85% of people report on this Adobe study, which is in the notes below. They report 82%, 85%, sorry, that their experience with shopping has been improved by using search through these LLMs. I'm going to leave you just with one note, and you can go again. I added a lot of notes in the slide, but I will give you this framework, which is EEA EAT, so eat, but with a long E at the beginning, on how you can safeguard reputation, because there's a lot of also bad reputation that can be created up there, fake reviews, fake data, fake content up there. There's this framework where you need to evaluate the experience, that constantly evaluate with AI the experience that um, people report with your website, with your shopping and experience and so on. You need the right expertise with AI to be able to monitor and counteract issues. So, for example, if there's fake data and so on, you need to be recognized as an authority. So, A comes from authority in your field, and you need people to trust you and the information you provide, which means that if you ever reference AI through your communication, please mention that you have used it. So we have a whole course about it, and Juana is going to probably mention this to you. But this framework is really important if you don't want to lose your clientele over time. So I'm going to pass it over to Juana, because everything that I shared, how important it is for your reputation to appear in ChatGPT, how important it is that you are listed correctly, and how to use this predictive data from AI. This all ties into SEO and GEO that she's going to share about right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Lori. We're moving on with SEO and GEO, but first of all, just a bit of intro for you to understand why is it important to talk about GEO nowadays? Because users search with AI. They search because they want to, and in many cases, they search because Google started putting up AI overviews. And we already have some studies coming up. Apparently, where AI summaries show up, some clicks are reduced. You can see to almost half of what were the traditional visits. These are starting to be very common. They're appearing on 13% of searches and climbing, so they have a strong impact on CTR. They overlap with SEO a bit, but not in total. So ranking helps, but like Steph will tell you a bit later, GEO, it's not SEO, and it's actually important to have them both. Users, actually, even from the perspective of a user's behavior, they mix AI with classic search. So people, they use AI for shortcuts, for synthesis, and then they start validating it with traditional search for more complex shopping decisions. Here are some numbers, and you can, see where those fantastic numbers that Lori said come from. We have more than 400 million weekly users on ChatGPT in February. We had in February 25. In October, we are close to 800 million weekly reported. So billions and billions of daily prompts. You may have heard, the latest news that there is a lot of struggle with data centers supporting all of this, and the power that's needed to support uh, so many prompts. For Copilot, we have 33 million active users across Windows web applications in October, and Perplexity, tens of millions of monthly active users, more than 100 million weekly requests, and these are just free. You know, there are so many others. We have Gemini and so on. So people are definitely using this. And I'd like to ask Steph to come off mute because I will still share my screen, and obviously we're gonna send this presentation to you later on. But I'd like, because we have the expert here, Steph is leading an entire team of SEO specialists and lately geo specialists as well, to give us more hands-on information. So, Steph, if you were to mention one thing, let's say the most important thing a business owner that wants to get into GEO, so to be cited into AI, ChatGPT, and so on, what would you recommend? What's the thing to start with?
The thing to start with is first to measure what's happening, where you are standing, and to have a clear idea how things are now, so you can measure the progress. Obviously, you want to measure your visibility, but you also want to measure your traffic you already get. We had a lot of clients as of late, who came proactively to us because they saw from their traffic stats that they are actually already getting traffic from ChatGPT or other LLM, and that this traffic was actually quite well converting, and they wanted more. So, and this is where it usually starts in business. Either you see it's already working for me, or maybe it's working for somebody else in the industry, and you don't want to be left behind.
So what you're saying is first step is see where you are at. Use a tool, perhaps like Lori mentioned, LLM, Dell. Are there any other tools, Steph, that you would recommend for this?
Well, yeah, there are several. It depends also a little bit on your niche and what LLM are you actually looking at. For most, this will be ChatGPT, AI overviews, Perplexity. If you are more like in software, maybe Claude is becoming interesting because a lot of user coders use Claude, or marketers or researchers are prone to Gemini more. So it's important to know where's your audience. And you want to see, on the one hand, what are you getting from LLMs? This you see in your traffic stats, but you also want to see how you appear in the LLM. This is the first thing. And the next thing, what you do, and here is a big difference to SEO. Um, while 90% of the tech may be the same, in content, we have very big differences, because here we really need to plan with the audience. We need to know who is actually our customer, and then we need to get into their head and to anticipate what will they ask the LLM, what will they ask in ChatGPT, what will they
Mm-hmm.
ask in Perplexity or whatever. And this is largely different from SEO, because in
Yeah.
SEO you have certain keywords. They are the same for everybody. Doesn't matter if I'm an engineer or the big boss in the company, the CEO or C-level, the buyer. We use the same keyword. We look for the best laptop. But
Mm-hmm.
for example, but the best laptop is very different for each of those roles. And the LLM knows, for example, quite well our history. They know what we usually do, and they will, for each of those personas, have a different laptop recommendation. So
Yeah.
and from this, we have a completely different content planning. Because if in SEO, it's okay to have only one or a little selection of articles on a certain topic, you can really facet this out on the LLM side. And
We have a question, Stefan, in the chat window. So somebody is asking, for those with limited budget, what would you recommend to go with, SEO or GEO?
Um, I would recommend to do the SEO, because if you get the SEO right, 90% is already right for geo. So geo is something you do on top. It requires SEO and geo LLM is nothing else than a search engine. It's a little bit more elevated. It's working a little bit different than a search engine as an AI. However, what an AI does, they use a technique which is named RAG, retrieval augmented generation. This means for most questions users ask, they don't have the answer. They weren't trained for this. So what they actually do is break the question down in a lot of different other questions and ask search engines. So they are doing all the searches, retrieve all the answers, refine then again the searches based on this, iterate this a little bit, and then they come back with an answer. So the internet research we were doing before is still happening. It's just that the LLM is doing it, and it's doing it much more systematic than a human before. This is why we need more content. But long story short, SEO is where it starts. Geo is where we refine it. There are some more differences also when it comes to review management, what kind of links are mentioned. But if you are really limited by budget, SEO is where you start. Uh, One, I didn't hear you. Is it just me?
Oh no, I think I was on mute. Sorry, Steph. So I was saying, okay, so you cannot escape that. Do SEO right, and once you have the extra budget, start going into geo as well. Okay. Um, so let's see what's next. Just a second. Um, Tell us a bit of what are the steps, that can be done now from a geo standpoint. Let's say we ended the first step, we see where we are at. Like Lori showed earlier, Carrefour doesn't stand so well on some LLMs. Once we do the audit, what are the steps that you need to take in order to make sure that your brand appears into generative AI?
So first, we want the same as in SEO to get the basics right, and the basics are technical. So we want to have a website which is accessible to search engines and to LLM, and this is happening today most of the times, but we still see candidates who are not fully search engine friendly or accessible. Usually when they use a lot of JavaScript, there's certain content which is accessible only over JavaScript, hidden in images. This still happens from time to time, and this is something which uh, doesn't constitute an advantage in this case. So we want really to have a website which is simply and plain accessible. All content is exposed. There's structured data, which is very helpful for search engines to understand the content better. And supposedly also LLM uses. For discovery, sitemaps are important, especially in the case for LLM. We want to also have a special look at Bing. We know for a fact that Microsoft is an investor into OpenAI, one of the biggest. This is why people often suppose that ChatGPT is close to Bing. Empirically, we don't know. We know ChatGPT searches a lot on Google. On the other hand, Bing is definitely a source which is used, and depending on your geographic target, it can be a valuable source of traffic anyways. So especially in the States, in Germany, we know many clients who have a lot of converting traffic and sales also from Bing. So it's important. We check first, to make the long story short, for the technical factors, which are mostly the same as in SEO, but you have to check some details like double.
Mm-hmm.
The second is to know who is the audience, what they are searching for, what they could search for. Here we can combine keyword research from SEO with more refined prompt research and making a content plan especially for these audiences. So if we would have like to have an analogy, SEO would be like more two-dimensional and very direct, and with LLM or geo, SEO becomes more multidimensional. So
Hmm.
we have to think in many different directions.
And
Then the
sorry, Steph, from a content perspective, is it true what they say that you need to have this new approach of answering questions and having a lot of content, yeah, like FAQ or Q&A?
It's definitely helpful. It has been helpful for SEO as well because people ask the same questions. We work for many years like this because it's natural, because it's helpful, because it's also a way like users skim through answers on long documents. So definitely yes, we recommend it. But it's true, the focus for, or it's an industry trend that this is more widely adopted.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you, Steph. Here are some case studies. Again, case studies in GEO are really, just small conclusions from brief projects that happened over months or even weeks. We're only just starting to see some data. This is available to your team as well, Steph. But what about in your case? Can you share anything you've noticed for customers you've started doing GEO for? Have they seen any improvement or what's happening there?
Well, we actually have seen improvements. First of all, because we started to plan content differently. So something which already was working good worked better because we had a broader offering. So pulling in more visits and conversions from this. Also, what we started, because before in SEO, the focus has been always on links and especially high authority links. The more page ranks, the better. But LLMs actually also check for social media, user-generated content validation. They read actually reviews. So it's important to have a real authority stack and where you have good links and mentions, but unlike SEO, not only the link is important, also if somebody mentions a brand, this is also already good and counting. So we want to have some of them. We
Hmm.
also want to be mentioned in very authoritative sources like Wikipedia, even though in classic SEO their usage is or utility is not as high, being a no-follow link. But for an LLM, it's still very important because ChatGPT is pulling half of the recommendations from Wikipedia. So we want uh, to get to high authority websites like this. And Reddit is a real trend right now. So you want to be on
Yeah,
Reddit and you want to be in real Reddit threads, or at least threads which look like real Reddit and not like you yourself put a Reddit post and nobody answers it. So
yeah.
this is something important.
I heard
Uh,
about Reddit a lot, and especially for our, people in our audience who are in the technology area, even industrial sectors. I understand it's important to be there for LLMs.
Yeah, so and also Google took a lot of this, so it's a good thing to be there. It's YouTube can also be very helpful
Hmm.
because YouTube is also like a high authority site where it's easier to place content. For example, if your website is quite new and your niche where you activate is quite competitive, it could take a long while until you have good results. With a YouTube channel, you can have actually faster result, and at the end of the day, the conversion is happening on your website at the end of the day, or in your shop, your magazine, whatever. So it's also a good channel to take here
Hmm.
into
Hmm.
account. And doing this kind of promotions, we have seen improvements, definitely.
Mhm. And Steph, one last question because we're already over the hour, and I like to announce also a special gift for our people here. How do you see the future in geo? I mean, especially because I know you've been attending this Google events lately. What's coming up next?
It's always good to have this question about the future. Um, Personally, I think that the term, I don't know if the term geo will stay, but I'm definitely sure that geo and SEO will converge also in
Mhm.
the mind of people, because from a technical point of view, this is already happening. If you look at Google, it became an LLM. Basically, it's an LLM with a
Yeah.
search engine below, but the AI answers are what an LLM does, and Gemini in AI mode is an LLM. So this and the other LLM pull heavily search engine information. So what's happening is here this will become a new common field. We expect new search engines to have LLM capabilities, and SEO and geo will merge. Probably, well, what's the naming? I don't know.
It's gonna be
But
only O or EO.
or optimization. Also, considering that social media can rank now in Google, it you need to optimize actually more channels. So like Instagram, TikTok, things like this can actually now appear in search results. Um, so there's a lot of conversion happening. Also, PR starts to become more important. So we see digital PR and PR in general merging. And yeah,
Mhm.
digital becomes a real ecosystem where everything is connected.
Thank you so much, Steph, for sharing all this information.
Yeah, I was actually surprised because yes, like Google and Bing and everybody's pushing so much this AI search, but on the other hand, when you see that people have such a good experience with AI search, you're wondering, this is the future. Even if I would like to resist and we'd like to, have everything optimized the old school way, we have to cross over to a new chapter. So. Yeah, hopefully we'll all be on Reddit and what else on Bing and you know.
Or where Steph recommends us. So
Actually, you know what? I just asked my assistant to start commenting on Reddit and to promote our AI marketing course. So let's see if it pays off. I'll report back in the comments
amazing.
on social media about the results.
Amazing. Well, the good thing, besides the things that we will have to do in order to adapt to the new age, is the fact that we won't have to do it ourselves, right? We will
Yes,
have our all our AI assistants and agents in
yeah,
many cases.
that's good.
Okay, so thank you again. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Lori. And obviously, thank everybody who's here. We'll stay in touch. Do reach out to us if you need support with anything. And also, please share your feedback on our sessions. And very important, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to help with that. We're going to do a poll asking what are some subjects that you are interested to learn more about. I know GEO, a lot of people requested a dedicated session on that. So if there are others, just send it over and we'll make sure we address them.